So hello and welcome to another Waveformed tutorial. So this is the second of a series of tutorials on a little concept I have called wave pads. But before we get into that, I just want to go through the difference between the different minor scales. So obviously there's one major scale, but there are three common minor scales. So we get the minor natural scale, which is also called the Aeolian mode. So the relative minor of the C major scale. So you're quite familiar with that. Most electronic music is in minor scale or minor key, should I say, and the most popular key is A minor because there's no black notes. So there are the chords, and again the scale. So how do we get the chords from the scale? So it's pretty simple. There's a simple formula of 1, 3, and 5. So I'll show you what that means. So we have our first chord, so 1, 3, and 5. So that will be A, C, and E, which will make up. So let's put in the notes. Let's go down 1, and our E, which we will copy over. So 1, 3, and 5. So if we repeat that formula, B, the third of B is a D, and the fifth is a F, and so we repeat that all the way up to get our scales. Chords of our scale. So again, what we're left with is this. Okay, so let's look at our second scale, which is the harmonic minor scale. You can see it's a bit different than the minor scale, a bit more exotic sounding. You can see probably the sync is slightly off in this video. That's due to the screencast software acting a bit funny. But you get the idea. So as you can see, we've got an augmented chord, which you haven't come across so far, and two diminished. So we're generally, again, don't use those chords too much in popular music of any kind. Jazz, classical, it's more likely. So I notice our melodic minor scale has a difference descending and ascending. So you can see if you listen to the descending part, it's actually exactly the same as the minor scale, the natural minor scale. So there's the chords. So what I've done is taken a combination of the most usable chords from the three. So basically we have our A minor tonic, we have a flattened second, we have a major third, and we have major and minor of the dominant and subdominant, and our F and our G. So what I've done on the other tracks is create some extension and suspension chords. So we have 11ths, 9ths, 7ths, dominant 7ths, major 7ths, and suspensions. So if you're not great in music theory, it's a handy way of building up more complex progressions. So especially for stuff like house music, you use a lot of major 9th, major 7th, minor 7ths, etc., extension chords. So it's a handy way of coming up with these progressions without knowing a hell of a lot about music theory, but you can jam out ideas and do it by ear. So let's have a look at that in practice now. Okay, so first things first, we need to make sure that global quantization is set to none and our tracks record slot is on. So I've just got a clip, an Ableton clip, just as a rhythm track, and we're going to play in a 1, 6, 4, 5 progression, but use our major 9ths, minor 9ths, major 7ths. So to give it a housey kind of feel. So that's kind of hard to play in because of the latency due to the screencast software. So my playing is even slacker than normal, but we can edit that very easily. So you don't need to be a player at all to make more complex and musically interesting passages. So I'm just going to duplicate that first, and then we can sort out the chords. So let's just start by moving them all over to the one. So you can see these are actually, again, feature of house is syncopation. So you can see the second chord is on an offbeat. Just make sure I select all of them so you can see that's got 5 notes in a chord, ninths. And that needs to come over further. And for some reason that note didn't sound properly. Oops, redo that. Oop, wrong legato, sorry. That's the right legato. And again, the timing is slightly off, which I apologize for, but that's again the screencast software. So let's just quickly make a duplicate of that. So let's make something a bit more rhythmically interesting. So this is really easy to do. So we've got our basic progression, and I'll just call this broken chords. Now we can set our quantize to 1 bar. So what I'm going to do is just take the top 2 or 3 notes from each chord and move them over. So you get the idea how you can break up a pattern, make it more rhythmically and musically more interesting. So again, we can keep developing this as much as we like, double the length, and then make a few more variations. They don't have to be anything major, just a few slight variations can make something which is originally very simple into something much more complex. So let's just make a few more changes in the second iteration. Yeah, let's change the rhythm slightly at the end. So you don't have to be a musical whiz to come up with something, you know, much more developed than you might normally just off the bat, just with the use of the chord pad system. I just find it really easy if you're not a keyboard player just to come up with something a little bit more developed. So if you'd like to try it out, I'll leave a link below. So thanks for everything, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.